Hey everybody, I'm Kris and you're watching Ready to Die Fighting. And today I'm going to share with you a little bit of Kali. I just started learning it, so nothing I'm going to tell you is, don't take my word for anything. But this is really just my warm-up that I use on when I do core day, basically. So before I start doing push-ups and sit-ups and working with the kettlebell and the medicine ball and all that stuff, I take maybe 10-15 minutes and do some Kali drills. And I do that for a couple different reasons. One, I think it's a good warm-up. It really works the arms and the shoulders. It kind of loosens things up, and it's got a nice flow. There's a lot of movement to it. It's pretty laid back. I don't find it to be very strenuous at all. Maybe in the forearms, but that's about it. It's kind of a forearm workout a little bit. But for the most part, I can do it pretty easily, and it's fun. Well, I guess it's fun is probably the second reason. I guess it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. But the other reason, third reason, is that even though I'm not really learning Kali at the moment, it's not where my focus is. It's something I plan on learning eventually, and so I'm self-taught in a lot of different things, from foreign languages to computer software and programming and martial arts, some of them. And I find that learning things in layers, and by that I mean kind of dabbling in something at first and getting comfortable there, and then going deeper and learning a little bit more there, and then go deeper again. So I'm starting out just playing around with Kali. I watched some videos about it. I'm learning about the mentality of the martial arts itself, a little bit about the history about the martial art itself, picking up some basic skills, building a foundation of basically hand-eye coordination, wrist flexibility, all this basic stuff that realistically I'm going to need before I can actually do Kali anyway. And right now my wrist flexibility is quite poor. I would say my flexibility everywhere is quite poor. And so that's something that I need to build, I think, before I can even really dive into it seriously. Plus I'm focusing on boxing and Krav Maga right now, so you can't focus on everything. I guess I would say I'm actually focusing on boxing mostly. Krav Maga is secondary. And Kali is tertiary. Maybe jiu-jitsu, I don't know. I'm not really learning jiu-jitsu. So, but at any rate, I'm rambling a little bit. But so this is something that I do before I do the other workouts, as a fun warm-up and as a way to kind of prime me, I guess you could say, for when I start actually learning Kali. So I start out with just a little, grab the sticks in the middle and doing this propeller motion. And I try to move them around when I'm doing that into different positions. And I do that for a couple different reasons. One is that it probably works the muscles differently by moving it into different areas. But it also helps give me an idea of how these sticks move in space and getting comfortable with them, basically whirling around my body different ways, building up some coordination of both arms moving. Even though they're moving in a similar way, they're moving in different directions. I'd like to be able to work up to the point where I could do this pretty... It works the brain, man. That's one of the things I like about Kali. It really makes my brain work, because left and right hand are often doing different things. And so, yeah, it takes some... I find it's a mental workout as well, so it's kind of fun to do. So I do that for a little bit to loosen up there. And then I usually set those down and just do some wrist rolls like this. And I like to keep the fist as tightly closed as I can, because that's how I would hold the sticks, is with a closed fist, right? And I want to build the flexibility there. And I'll often take the other hand and put it on top of it and kind of cup it, I guess. And so that's going to help me keep that wrist closed. It provides a little bit of resistance, I guess you could say. But it's also, I'm putting pressure in the different points to kind of, if I'm there, putting that hand on there, just the weight gives it just a little extra stretch and a little bit of resistance to really work that wrist to loosen it up and build that flexibility. And then I do that on both sides. You're much more flexible, at least I am, with the hand open. That's much easier. But closing that fist, it tightens up quite a bit. And so then loosen it. There you go. So you do that. And then I just do this type of stretch. I don't know what you call that exactly. I'm just kind of stretching the wrist out some more. Shake them loose. Then, let's see. I write everything on the marker board so that I make sure I don't forget something. And then I try to do, now this is something that I'm terrible at, try to making some figure eights with this. So kind of, instead of just moving in a circle, making, I don't know, I guess a figure eight or an infinity sign, whatever you want to call it. Terrible at it, but that's why I have to build it, right? Got to build that strength, build that coordination, that mobility. So that's a circle. I want to make the circle. The left hand is really struggling to do this motion. So yeah, work that for a minute, not too long. I don't want to waste a bunch of time on it, but it's something I know I need to improve in. So there we go. That's all we do for that. Then, let's see. Oh, put this down. I need one stick for this one. So you want to kind of get used to how the stick, I guess the length of it and the amount of space it takes up. And so I do this and kind of stretch back as far as I can, switching hands. And this does touch my chest or my stomach most of the time. And so trying to do this without it, because this should be a sword, I'm pretending this is a sword, without it cutting me, right? And just understanding the space this thing takes, or the amount of room it takes up, how much space it needs. And it's also a pretty good stretch for the shoulders and back. And then in that similar vein, I do like a little nunchuck thing because it's fun, but it's also giving you an idea of how the stick moves in space, how much room it takes up, how long it is, how it can flow around your body, right? We're building coordination, making the stick an extension of your body, right? And that's what you want, really. You want to be comfortable with this thing, want to know where it is at all times, right? Once you're using it. I mean, I don't know, I'm talking on my ass. I'm not a Kali guru or anything, but that's my goals at this point, to build my coordination with this, and my flexibility, my mobility, and just get comfortable with this stick and have some basic functional understanding of how it moves in space. That's what I'm going for with most of these. Now, to build a bit of strength and stability in the wrist, you know, most of that was working on flexibility. Now I want to build some stability here. So when I am swinging this, I want it to be locked nice and tight. And so I'm just going to pretend like I'm beating a drum and just do this bit. And I don't want my wrist to flop all over the place. Like, I want it to be, my wrist to be flexible, but I also want it to be strong. And I want to have control. So just, and I don't have a set amount of time that I do this for. I probably should set a timer for each one, but I haven't been. I've just been doing it till I get tired of it, I guess. Phew. And then I'm going to do a little bit of the same thing, except this time I'm cracking the sticks together. They're strong sticks, so I don't have to worry about them breaking. But what this does This is basically getting me used to that impact in my hands, absorbing that hit, and also strengthening the grip. So when it does get hit, I don't drop the stick. So I just take turns. So just switching hands a few times and just whacking the stick, maybe not as hard as I can, but with a good amount of impact to build that shock absorption. You know, what I just said. After that, then I start working on some twirling. So I start really basic with it and just twirling down. Twirl up, and I try, the goal is to, so I can twirl pretty easily by opening my hand. As you may be able to tell, I play drums. I used to. I haven't actually touched a drum set in years, but I used to be a drummer. And I really enjoyed stick twirling, and I was pretty decent at it. Not wonderful. I'd never win a competition or anything. So twirling is very fun for me. But twirling a drumstick, you open your hand up quite a bit. You open up your hand a ton, and you let it go through the fingers, and it's pretty different doing it with this. But that's not what we want here. This is a weapon, so I don't want to open my hand up, because if I open my hand to twirl, well, now if I'm just holding onto it like that, yeah, I can make a nice neat twirl that comes like right next to my arm, and it's very comfortable, but that's pretty weak. Seems like an easy way to drop it, or if anything happened, you know, if I'm moving around, or, you know, whatever. It just seems like it's a weak point now. I don't know how much twirling would happen in a real fight, but still, I want to build the flexibility so that the wrist does the twirl, not the fingers, and I don't have to open my hand up. So, let's see. So that's what I'm going for. So I'm doing a pretty decent twirl there, and the hand is opening up some, and I can accept that. Ideally, I would want it to just stay closed, ideally, but I'm not there yet. So I'm just doing some twirls up, or sorry, twirling down, twirling up, twirling down, twirling up. And so you're supposed to actually start here, twirl down, crack the sticks. And each time it comes down, try to switch. So first time it goes that way, second time it goes that way. And I'm not cracking down real hard at this point. It's just... So I do that for a little bit, and then just switch it up. Make sure, yep. And this is where it gets tricky. This is where you start working the brain, is we alternate hands. So this one comes down as this one comes up. This took me quite a bit of time to do, and I'm still not doing it great. But it's this took basically, I think 3 days of doing, I mean, not 72 hours, but 3 days of practicing this, and pretty much only this for, I don't know, 20 minutes a day or something like that. But I had to really slow this down, and how I was able to do it is I had to try to get more comfortable with the twirling itself. But then I broke it into pieces. So it's like, and so I'd work on one hand, you know, right hand comes down, left hand goes up. And so I just did that at first.